families, creating a lifetime of memories. Sadly, some families are denied these important moments due to the sad practice of alienation. These are families divided.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Families Divided TV. In this episode, Dr. Sue Cornbluth is going to give us a different perspective in getting power to reconnect with our children and our grandchildren. Pay attention. I think you're going to find this quite refreshing and encouraging. We'll bring this to you right after these messages.
Sadly, too many know the pain and trauma associated with parental and grandparent alienation. Family Access, Fighting for Children's Rights, will present an important international virtual conference in 2023. Alienation, the Truth Regarding the Trauma and Abuse, will feature world-renowned experts in the field of alienation. You'll join conference event coordinator Elaine Cobb and moderator Dr. Colleen Murray as they introduce you to keynote speaker Dr. Edward Kruk. Plus, you'll hear important presentations from Dr. Joshua Coleman, Lisa Rothfuss, Dr. Mary Alvarez, Dr. Colleen Murray, Bill Eddy, Dr. Noel Hunter, Dr. Sue Cornbluth, Dr. William Burnett, and Megan Hunter. For a limited time only, you can take advantage of a pre-early bird special price for the entire conference coming next October. Join the many attendees already securing their spot for the conference Alienation, the Truth Regarding the Trauma and Abuse. Visit familyaccess.info for all the details. This special conference is being hosted by Family Access, Fighting for Children's Rights, Steel Partners Foundation, and PASCA, Parental Alienation is Child Abuse.
Divorce and co-parenting are a major life interruption for families, especially the kids, but also for parents and grandparents. And it's even worse in blame-filled, high-conflict cases. When parents engage in alienation by turning the kids against the other parent or grandparents, kids suffer. They're denied the opportunity to build the 4 big skills necessary for future resilience. New Ways for Families online class can help. Parents learn to use our popular BIF and EAR skills to calm the conflict and stop the hostile emails and texts. And we even have a class for kids and parents to learn together. Research shows a 75% improvement in joint parental decision-making after this course is taken, plus overall improvements for kids' well-being. Don't wait to make this affordable investment in your children's future and improve your well-being too. Start learning new ways for your family today at conflictplaybook.com.
Hi, everybody. Dr. Sue Cornbluth here. So happy to be with you again today for a segment on how to empower yourself to change your alienation situation. I bet you didn't know this, but your power within yourself is the way you change your situation. There's no other way to do it. And every day you probably hear that court is the way to change it, that getting a lawyer is the way to change it, that the court is going to grant you reunification therapy or is going to return your child to you. But we know at the end of the day that that's just not the case. So I'm asking you today to open up your mind into other avenues to explore, to begin reconnecting with your children, and carry with you today that the power to change that lies within yourself. When we rely on the court to do this, we are left on depending on them. Is that what you want to do? Do you want to depend on somebody else to reconnect you with your child? I don't think so. I much rather have time in working with somebody one-on-one who understands the process of relationships and communication. That is what changes these connections between you and your child, whether they are young or whether they are adult children. The key factor in creating reconnection is you and working on yourself and changing yourself in a way where you create that power, that empowerment within yourself to communicate, even with your ex. Yep, I said that. Changing the way that we communicate with others changes the way that they respond to us. The court is there for two reasons. I talk about this all the time. The two reasons are custody, and the other reason is child support. Otherwise, they are there to suggest things, such as suggest reunification, but they're not going to be the ones that are going to enforce the reunification. That's you that has to do that. And to do that, it's important that you take on and own, yes, own that it is your desire to work on yourself, to show up differently for yourself, which is to become more empowered, to not feel helpless anymore, to believe that you have within yourself the ability to change this negative situation. That's the people that I see making all the changes in reconnecting with their children. The people that accept that there is a change that has taken place now. That is the first thing that anybody going through this painful ordeal needs to start with. They need to accept. In fact, it's you that needs to accept that you are going through something that needs a different approach. And court is not always the way to do that. There are some instances where you do need a lawyer and you do need the court to help you. I just went over them in the beginning. That is when you're dealing with custody and child support. But the rest lies within you to find it within yourself, to break through the chains and the barriers that you have put around yourself. And sometimes that can be anger. Sometimes it can be frustration. Sometimes it can be panic and fear. These all come with feeling that you are helpless to change this difficult situation. But I'm here to tell you today, you are not helpless. In fact, you can become more powerful than an attorney can in your situation. Yes, I just heard that. You just heard that out of my mouth. And that is what I believe. You can become more powerful than the attorney who is helping you in your case. Because what changes this situation is you showing up differently for your child, you showing up differently to your ex. Those are the two factors that change and help you to reconnect with your children. And that lies within yourself. And that's what I do. That's what my practice does every day, is help people like you to make those two changes. We work on you. You know, one of the things when people contact me in the beginning for help is, Dr. Sue, the court isn't helping me reconnect with my child. My answer to that is, Of course they're not. That's not what they're there for. They see the court as not the vehicle to change your connection with your child. They see that as your responsibility. That's why Dr. Sue and You is here, because we understand that also. And we understand that the work begins and ends with you in reconnecting with your children. And if there's anything that you take away from today in trying to reconnect with your children, please take that with you, that you are the one that can empower yourself to change this situation, not the courts. So when I talk to a client, I don't really talk about court. I talk more about changing them, changing the way they see the situation, changing the fact that they can make positive change in these unbearable situations. And so we don't begin with the court. We begin with working on you. We go through your pain. We look at how you're hurting. We look a bit into the coping skills that you are using at the time and give you different skills to empower yourself to move forward, to make that connection with your alienated child. Isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you desire? Isn't that what we all desire in life? Is to connect with people that we are distanced from. This is no different. The two things that help us to reconnect with people that we have had conflict with are changing ourselves and positive communication. Let's start briefly with changing ourselves. When we change ourselves, the first thing that I want you to do is recognize within yourself that a change needs to be made. We have to accept within ourselves that we have to go down a different path than we have gone down already. And that may be looking at the path at first that you've taken so far that has not given you results. There is no reason to be in court for 3 or 5 years or even 2 years without a change taking place in your communication with your child or with your ex. There is no reason for that. You can be working diligently on making changes, but that begins with accepting within yourself that something needs to change. Now, look, change is hard to embrace for all of us. I don't like change. I'm sure you don't like change. But what I dislike even more is being stuck. Don't you dislike that as well? I despise being stuck. I don't like being stuck. And so therefore, I will try different approaches to get unstuck. But I can't get unstuck unless I really accept to myself that the place that I am in is not a place where I want to be. Change takes time also. That doesn't mean that you're going to get on the phone with me or some other coach and after the first session, you're going to say to yourself, wow, I'm completely open to change now. That's not what happens. Finding places in your mind to change your mindset, to get to change, is part of the beginning. Changing your mindset to look at it differently, that the court and filing contempt after contempt and throwing more money at attorneys to get you to change this situation of alienation is not going to change this. I wish I could tell you that it would, but it's not going to. Changing your mindset to a place where you recognize that I need to work on myself. I need to find tools and techniques and ways to communicate differently. That is what is going to help me and empower me to change the situation with my children. And guess what, everybody? Your attorney's not giving you that stuff. They can't. They're not trained to do that. They're trained to do their jobs. But you can be guided to make these specific changes in terms of the communication with your children. It's not that complicated. Communication is the way that opens doors for any conflict, as I said before. But you have to know how to initiate those changes. I'll go over a couple with you now during this segment. The first thing in opening up the door into communication with your child, whether they're adult or whether they are younger, is by not saying, I love you and I miss you. They already know that. Opening up a door with your children is communicating in a way where you get in touch with their feelings, where you acknowledge their pain, where you acknowledge that they are hurt, where you acknowledge that they have a different perception from you. That's what begins to open up the possibility. Hear me when I say that. The possibility of you making an inroad to reopening the connection with your child. A simple statement through text or email or snail mail or whichever way you can get to them is just by saying, I've been thinking a lot about you. I've recognized that I have not looked at things from your perspective, and I'm learning how to do that now. I hope someday you will give me a chance to do that. It is a great opening line because it says to the child, I'm thinking about you now, not me. These are little changes that you can do on your own to empower yourself to continue down a consistent road of opening up the door more with them. There's nothing more important in this process than seeing things from their side. That does not mean for 1 second that your side and your pain is not important. However, your feelings are to be worked out with a counselor or a therapist or a coach. That is where you need to put your feelings, not onto your child. And you can change that. You can change that by learning the tools and the language that I just talked about that we help people with every single day. Why does that start to empower people to feel better? Well, one, it's building a sense of confidence in you. It's giving you an action to do rather than sitting back and waiting for your attorney to come to you day after day and saying to you, oh, we got this, we got that. And you're sitting there in anxiety constantly waiting for the court to give you answers. No, I don't want that. I want to be taking action on a daily basis. And I want to be able to feel like I'm doing something to help myself and my child. Don't you want to feel that? I know that's what you want to feel. I hear it from you all the time. With that being said, change is not easy. So that's why it's important to work on yourself daily with self-talk. Self-talk is also one of the best techniques that you can use to change the way that you feel on a daily basis. When we self-talk, guess what? We don't need our lawyer to encourage us. We don't need our specialist to encourage us. What we need is ourselves to encourage us. Our voice in our head is so powerful. In fact, it's one of the most powerful factors that you can use to make change in your situation. For example, when you get a negative thought today that my child is never going to talk to me again, first, I want you to question yourself and say, how do I know my child's not going to talk to me again? But I guarantee you this, as long as you keep telling yourself your child's not going to talk to you again, they won't. Instead, I want you to replace that with, my child is not talking to me right now. That doesn't mean my child will never talk to me. I can put things in place that will help and guide that reconnection. But only I can do that. Your lawyer can't do that. Your lawyer cannot give you the words to put into place how to reconnect with your children. So my question to you is, why are you relying on them to do a job for you that they are not hired to do? They are not therapists. They are not coaches. They are not people that have studied this niche directly. They are there to do their legal job. We are here to help you with your emotional breakthrough and reconnecting with your children. And those are the two ways that you can break through and empower yourself to reconnect with your children. I know it sounds like you're saying to yourself, Dr. Sue, this doesn't sound as simple as you're saying. You're right, it doesn't. So you do have your work cut out for you. I want to be clear on that. You definitely have your work cut out for you. But that work that you have cut out for you, you can do it. I know that you can. Take a moment right now to think about this. In your life, right? When you had to accomplish something, did you always rely on other people to do it? Or did you go within yourself and say, I can do this. I can make this change. I can change the circumstance in my life. I bet you have. I bet you have with the job. It's the same thing that I want you to apply here. No one else can do this for you. People can guide you. People can help you. But at the end of the day, it's you that has to make a change. You have the choice, right? You have a choice when a nasty email or text comes in for your ex that says to you, you're the most disgusting human being on earth. I want you to stop right there when you get that text message. I want you to stop. I want you to pause. And I want you to say to yourself, is it going to be very beneficial to me to react in this way to this human being? Because if I react in a negative way, they're just going to react in a negative way back to me. And that is not creating peace. It's creating more drama. It's exactly what they want to hear from you. They want you to feed them. They are looking for that. So make a change. Don't feed them. Instead, feed them positivity. They don't know what to do with that. They don't know how to respond to that. In fact, it stops them in their tracks. So that's what I'm asking you to do. That's the change. That's the switch. But you can't just do it one time. You can't. You have to be consistent in all of your responses. When somebody's coming at you like that, the best response back is thank you for your thoughts. Have a great day. And then you move on. But if you have not worked on yourself, see how this leads back to what I was talking about before? If you don't work on yourself first to become more powerful in processing your emotions of rage or anger or disappointment towards the person that's coming at you, you are not going to be able to give that response. So once again, power lies within you to change this situation. Only you. I want you to realize that. I want you to take that in from today's segment. It's what changes everything. I've seen it over and over in the hundreds and hundreds of clients that I have helped to reconnect with their children in serious, moderate, and mild alienation. It works because you feel more in control. When you feel more in control of things that you felt in the past you could not control, that's when things change. So if you want more control over this situation, you're not going to ever get it through filing contempts in court. You're only going to get it. And I mean it. And I don't use only or never very much because those terms are very black or white. But in this particular cases, these cases, and in reconnecting with your children, I do believe this, and I will not change on that. Reconnecting with your children starts and ends with you. You are the vehicle to change, and you can be equipped with the tools and the techniques and the communication skills to do it. We've equipped our clients with this, and most, if not all, have made reconnection. They also have made that reconnection by moving the case out of court. And you know why they love that? They love that because they don't have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars where they're not getting where they want to go. They pay less money, they work on themselves, and change begins to happen over time. So isn't that wonderful, actually, that you've realized today that it's you that can create this change in reconnecting with your children? It always has been, and it always will be. When your kids can hear the things that they need to hear from you, that's the change that opens up the door, not the lawyers forcing things. You working together with your child and even with your ex. Yes, and I know you're going to say that's not even possible, but I'm here to tell you it absolutely is, that you can gain power over your ex with the techniques that I've talked about today and many, many more. Thank you so much for joining me today. And don't ever forget, you are the vehicle to change, and you cannot cure conflict with conflict. And that is what the courts do. I'm asking you to cure conflict with communication. Communication is the best way to reconnect with your children. As always, it's nice to be with you. You can connect with me at www.drsueandyou.com.
Next week on Families Divided TV, Dr. Edward Kruk discusses strategies for addressing grandparent-grandchild alienation.